Well, on to our top story, the man who exposed America's global surveillance network, Edward Snowden, may be looking to settle in Russia, at least for the medium term. The whistleblower has been stuck at a Moscow airport for 3 weeks now because he lacks the papers to leave. Well, live now to RT's Andrew Farmer for more details on Snowden's plans. Andrew, I am curious. The Russian attorney who is helping Mr. Snowden here has spoken out. What is the whistleblower planning as far as we know so far?
Well, yes, as we've known for a number of days, Latin America could become his final destination. But as you say, we've now learned from the lawyer representing Mr. Snowden that Russia could become his permanent new home. If he does receive temporary asylum, it will allow him to live and work freely in Russia for 1 year. And after that, we are told, he might apply for Russian citizenship.
He told me that he's going to stay in Russia. And I do not rule out that he may stay here permanently and become a Russian citizen with all the rights and responsibilities.
Well, the lawyer that is representing Mr. Snowden also said that the main reason he is applying for asylum here is because he fears for his own life if he returns to the US.
When asked by a Immigration Service agent why he chose to file his petition in Russia and why he came here, he replied that he fears for his life and well-being, and also fears that he could face torture or execution. And what he says sounds quite convincing, as the US still administers both capital punishment and torture.
And Andrew, I'm curious, Mr. Putin has said there was that precondition that the Kremlin had put out there that Mr. Snowden would have to stop revealing, essentially leaking more damaging leaks about the United States in order to stay. Has anything been said about that?
Well, it appears that the comments that we've heard, that is the case. Mr. Snowden has agreed, it seems, that he would not release further documents that would harm US interests while he is on Russian territory. In his words, Mr. Snowden has said that is something he can do. It is an important point, though, because President Putin has made this a precondition for asylum, and he says that in this whole saga, it has been Russia's role to take a humanitarian stance, and the actions it is taking should not be regarded as hostile towards the US. And he also said that Mr. Snowden's actions were actually in defense of human rights.
Human rights work usually bears some costs for those involved. When this work is done under the auspices of the United States government with its financial and political support, it's quite acceptable. But when someone criticizes Washington, the situation becomes much more complicated. The incident with the Bolivian president's plane illustrated this.
Well, certainly a sensitive political issue, but Andrew, what can we expect from Mr. Snowden in the coming days?
Well, in the coming days, he should receive these documents that will allow him to go through passport control here at this airport and then come through the exit and onto Russian soil proper, because remember, at the moment he does not have a valid passport or visa, but these documents should arrive with him, we understand, within the next 5 days, while his application for a temporary asylum is processed, which could take up to 3 months. The next thing is that he would require accommodation, so that's something he would have to look for, and then it's a question of waiting and seeing if he would actually receive this temporary asylum. So effectively, he's probably a man feeling much more at ease this afternoon, and it could be a new life and a new chapter for him here in Russia.
Well, and I'm sure he'll be happy to stop eating at TGI Fridays and whatever other few options that are available for him at the Sheremetyevo airport. RT's Andrew Farmer, thank you so much for that update. Well, Snowden's asylum request to Russia is assumed to be a stopgap measure. If Moscow grants it, he'll find himself with breathing room to pursue longer-term asylum in South America. RT contributor Afshin Ratanzi says that it's been a diplomatic nightmare for all involved.
He's applying for temporary asylum, presumably so he can just go about his business as a normal citizen, walk into the Venezuelan embassy in Moscow, walk into the Ecuadorian embassy, and fill out forms and papers. The Obama administration was so quick to just say, right, we'll make him a non-citizen and cause him trouble in this way. Well, they didn't just cause Edward Snowden trouble. They've caused Moscow trouble. They've caused all sorts of governments trouble, notably the Bolivian one, where, of course, the hijacking drama took place a few weeks ago. They're going to make lots of allegations in the press, and you'll see them in lots of right-wing newspapers, that the National Security Agency is a beacon of freedom, and without their ability to surveil your Skype account, your Outlook.com account, and recent revelations about Microsoft, the forces stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan would have sustained far more casualties. What rubbish. We know the American government and the corporate surveillance state is desperately seeking around to prove that they need to be able to be through all of our emails, all of our phone calls for our own security.